well as have us go live on Facebook. I'm going to start us on gallery view. There we go. We're live on Facebook. Welcome, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas, and it is Straight Talk, and it's all about the online and now in person Illuminate Film Festival. And I'm here with my lovely partner, Trish.
Hi, happy Friday.
And I'm going to start by putting the spotlight real briefly on one of our two guests, which is you are looking at the lovely Danette Wolpert. And she is the founder and executive director of this festival. And we're going to be learning all about it tonight. We're really excited about that. And let me tell you a little bit about Danette. She's the founder and executive director of the Illuminate Film Festival. But prior to that, she spent 10 years in film production, programming, and festival management. She's the recipient of the National Association for Women Business Owners 2016 Visionary Award for Entrepreneurial Excellence. Definitely want to hear about that. That's very cool. She spent 5 years as the associate director of the Miami International Film Festival, and she has also served as the director of the Washington, D.C. based screening room and in management. Has worked with the Sedona Jewish Film Festivals, the Washington Jewish Film Festival. She's done a lot. And before that, she was a senior management consultant for Ernst & Young, where she provided financial management and technology solutions for Fortune 500 clients. Wow, you've done a lot.
Well, thank you, Scott, for that lovely introduction. I'm so excited to be here with you all and get to share all this great news about our upcoming festival. And in the meantime, I would also like to introduce my colleague, who is the senior programmer and curatorial lead for Illuminate, and that's Maia Monasterios.
Hello, it's so wonderful to be here with Danette and with you, Scott and Trish. Super excited to share about the festival. We've got an incredible lineup and really inspiring films.
Excellent. And so I just want to encourage everybody, we're going to be taking a look at some of the trailers and seeing kind of the highlights of this festival. But I'm going to impress you with this. It's in like 3 days that this begins, yeah?
It's right around the corner, Scott. You can tell by the rings under my eyes. No, I'm just kidding. We've been planning for almost a year. Not that we knew exactly what it was going to look like, all right? Because when the pandemic hit, we weren't quite sure what we'd be able to do at this point. But we're so excited that we were able to add an in-person element to the festival about 5 weeks ago, and we just can't wait.
Great. Well, how about I show the trailer that talks about the festival itself, yeah?
Great.
All right, here we go.
Healing is not so mysterious. It's built into our bodies.
When people can truly see how amazing they are, their light will shine a little bit brighter.
Film and media can really activate and transform the planet.
We can change everything around us.
This film festival was amazing to me.
I'm just really basking in the spirit and love.
I wanted to come here and support the filmmakers. It's a beautiful thing.
This is about a shift in consciousness.
You can't miss this festival. You need to come to Illuminate.
I love that Sedona is doing this.
Wow, that's fun.
Is it weird that I cry watching my own trailer that I've probably watched 300 times?
It sounds really intriguing, and then I was really appreciating just the the way that you had all of these people come together. But I'm curious about who are the speakers, who are your narrators, and really um what's tell me about the vision and the heart of Illuminate.
Well, that is a really great place to start. And it really ties in with my search for my calling and my search for my purpose. So, as Scott mentioned, I had a very different corporate career at Ernst & Young with management and IT consulting projects. And one day I was sitting in an office at a client in Chicago somewhere, and I looked over, and there was this open magazine sitting on the table next to me, and it actually had a full page outward bound advertisement, right? And there was this woman that was, they were scaling this this mountain with this massive valley, and it was just this epic image. And at that moment, I felt, am I really doing what I'm meant to do? Am I really living truly, alive? Am I alive? And that started a very different path for me. And I went on my own vision quest, and I traveled all over the world for about a year, and it landed me here in Sedona. And after about 6 months of every modality I've ever tried, it led me to this idea of bringing and channeling, all that is possible, right? In terms of elevating our consciousness and human evolution, and having that come through a new modality, which is film. And I say new, not because obviously film is new, but that the idea that film is a modality is relatively new, or at least an idea that really has more potential, right, to grow and expand. And I think, Scott, right, you know that well, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, did you want to mention
Well, sure. Most people probably know that I had a previous career for 20 years as a writer, director, producer, mostly of educational television. But I did make a movie. I did make a feature film, which I wrote and directed and produced and traveled the country with, called Men in Love. And yeah, it's an amazing experience. And because the one movie I made was an independent film, I really appreciate how important it is to have festivals such as yours. I mean, we would have been like, oh God, we've got to get this into the Illuminate Film Festival, because our particular film is all about dealing with the AIDS crisis back in 1989. And so, your festival, had it existed then, would have been a really important showcase for us. Luckily, we took it to the Berlin Film Festival, and it won an award. And but it for small movies like that, that are passion projects and don't have the support of United Artists or Warner Brothers, it's so important to have festivals such as yours where we can be seen and spotlighted and get some love, because your filmmakers have spent all their life savings and God knows how much time, and their mother and father and sister and brothers' donations to make these movies. And it's festivals like yours where you get that juice of, okay, people are seeing my movie, people are acknowledging it, people are getting it. So anyway, thank you very much.
I mean, Scott, that's absolutely right. There's so much great content in the world, and I started to feel like the mainstream industry, film industry, was not really entirely open to it. And I thought, well, what can we do to shift that? Is there a place for a festival of this kind? Because it really hadn't existed prior than that. And we, of course, had big box office hits like What the Bleep, right? Or The Secret. I'm sure many of you out there have seen those films and can say, well, those were, couple decades ago, and that was a big winner. But the problem was that we didn't see continued, embrace of these types of consciousness expanding films, right? I think probably every filmmaker in the world, conscious filmmaker, thought, yay, this is our opening. And they made lots of films like it, and none of them really got through. And so we were like, okay, maybe the time is right, but we need more advocates. And so we stepped in. Now, not that we knew this was going to work. I've been working in the film festival industry for a while, but I'm looking at festivals like Miami that, were had 30 years of history and extremely funded and lots of, support from distributors and financiers and filmmakers and sponsors. And I thought, well, is the film industry going to think this is like some super woo-woo project, where the caliber of the films, are not going to be up to par? Because, we've had a lot of, and I'm just going to say it here, guys, is, in the past few decades, people with such passion to get their messages out, but not yet the filmmaking craft expertise. So the filmmaking industry kind of got a little bit like, they felt a little iffy about this genre, so to speak. So we wanted to say, look, guys, we're ready. We have the quality, we have the quantity, and we want to make this accessible to people. And so I jumped in, and this was a very grassroots effort. Honestly, I arrived in Sedona and I recruited 10 body workers and yoga teachers and Reiki masters. Not a single one of them actually had ever worked at a film festival. But I knew that they had something special, and more than anything, they had this bigger vision in their hearts. And in 9 months, we birthed our first festival. And I can tell you what a surprise there was in that. We felt, okay, if we get 500 people in seats, and we maybe get our first premiere in a year or two, and maybe if we get, a handful of people to come from across state lines, we will have succeeded. And in that very first year, you won't believe what the universe helped us manifest.
What did the universe manifest for you?
Where's the drum roll? So there it is. Thank you, Scott. So in that year, we manifested not, 500 audience members in seats, but 2,400. And with our $1,000 marketing budget, seriously, we attracted an audience from 24 states and 10 countries. And we got 4 world premieres in our very, very first year. Wow. Including Death Makes Life Possible, which was executive produced by Deepak Chopra. And he came, and of course, he filled our biggest 750 seat venue, which is completely sold out. And, we just realized that the time had come.
Oh, beautiful. That is awesome. That's awesome. Now, I want to include Trish and Maia a little bit. So I'm going to go to gallery view. Maia, tell us a little bit about how you came into this world. Not the world, the planet, but that we'll do that on one of our ET shows. But into Danette and Illuminate Film Festival world.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, something, not mentioned yet, but I have a background of being a filmmaker for, over 20 years. In television, and like you, Scott, independent filmmaking, done the circuit, and created a bunch of projects that won awards. But really, my passion has always been in this consciousness movement. I grew up, I would say, with like an indigo new age mom, and she like fed me on a steady diet of Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and Caroline Myss. And you name it, walking into our living room was like walking into a new age bookstore. So we had everything. But really, I was just grateful because my mom was a deep seeker. She was really looking for more meaning and transformation in her life. So I grew up in that environment and really sought to to share that with people through film and through storytelling. But just like Danette shared, the industry at large, the mainstream industry, kind of, didn't always embrace the deeper spiritual meanings of things. And so I was working, in mainstream television for a long time, kind of like sneaking in transformational messages and uplifting storytelling, and really looking for my tribe, right? Looking for my tribe, because I knew that there were other people like me that were, undercover, I like to call them undercover shamans, storytellers that, were entertaining people, but were also like Shakti potting them, right? With like a transmission that was really meant to uplift and expand their consciousness. And so, it took, I think, COVID to happen, for me to really say, okay, it's time to fully step away from that world and dedicate all of my talents and energy to serving this community. And actually, a friend of Danette's and mine called me up during the beginning of COVID, when they had all of these conscious festivals come together and produce one mega online virtual offering for the planet called One Earth Live. And you, Scott, were a part of that. Saturday Night Live was a part of that. And it was an incredible like reunion of like all of these people. And it was like, finally, I'm like, these are my people. I'd been working with Unify, I'd been working with some other people here and there, but it was the first time I saw us all really rally and come together to serve a higher purpose, which was inspiring, giving hope, sharing more possibilities in the midst of our most challenging times. And it was, I was assigned the opportunity to produce the entire conscious film stage for One Earth Live. So I was given 5 days. It was like, oh, maybe we should add this. It was kind of a last minute addition. And in 5 days, I called up Danette. We were introduced. I was introduced to Danette. I knew about Illuminate for a while, but we hadn't connected. I was introduced to her, to Uplift. Next thing we knew, we were rallying everybody. I was calling filmmakers, not sleeping for days. And really, in just like what was kind of like almost 72 hours, we pulled together 21 films, a slate of 21 films that were all incredible. I mean, we're like high level, it could have all been award-winning films, right? Some of them were, like including Awake, The Life of Yogananda, and that had already gotten distribution. I know, I love that movie. I love it so much. And it had gotten distribution already. So typically when that happens, you have to pay, they can't offer it for free, right? But we somehow negotiated all of these kind of loopholes with all these filmmakers to let us play their films for free for 48 hours during this festival. And just through the, promotion of the community, I think over 5,000 people watched those films and were supported during that time, right? Really got fed and nourished during that time. And when I did that, I realized, wow, I want to do this again. Like, this is powerful. I mean, I'm a filmmaker, I create content, but I love supporting other filmmakers, mentoring them, giving them, industry contacts and skills and opportunities to be seen by wider audiences. I've been blessed to have my projects, in mainstream television like National Geographic and MTV be seen by millions of people around the world, every project I ever worked on. But I'd see these like independent films that would literally transform my life when I watched them. And books like The Celestine Prophecy and, turned into movies, but then really not go anywhere. And I started to think, it's just about not making a bridge to the audiences and not getting the industry supporters and funders to really support these films and see that this is a service to humanity right now. So I got behind Danette on her mission, because I loved working with her in that collaboration for One Earth Live. And I was like, how can I be a part of this? Let's bring Illuminate back. And she said, well, actually, we are needing some support to bring Illuminate back. And it had been gone for a couple of years, which I'll let Danette talk about that story, which is a really deep and personal story to her. But I got really excited about the opportunity to take advantage of this virtual environment and help Danette pivot Illuminate to online as well as an in-person hybrid festival. And it's just been a joy to be able to search for these films, we we have more than 4 world premieres like from your first festival. We have a lot more this year. And just being able to gather us, right? Because now it's like I'm getting to not just look for my tribe, I'm creating it. I'm inviting them to the party, at Illuminate. And bringing us all together and sharing our resources. We're getting to like share tips and resources amongst each other as filmmakers. We're bringing incredible industry mentors to help people in different stages of their projects. We're helping connect filmmakers to distributors. I mean, Danette can talk about this. We're at the point where Illuminate's really well respected in the industry. And so as distributors call us up, call Danette up and like, what are the good films, And so that's the role that film festivals can play, right? Where we are discovery festival. We curate the best of the best in this genre, but also we're attuned to like, what's the voice? Like, what are the stories that the people most need to hear right now? Right? What statements can we make by screening these films? And so that's one of the reasons I'm so proud to be working with Danette and at Illuminate and bringing all these incredible programs to you, including incredible performances and parties and an award show that we get to produce with you, Scott. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, there's so much to talk about, but that's just a little bit about my story and how I came to Illuminate.
Maia, thank you so much. Illuminate sounds amazing. Very, very amazing. And I would love to, I don't know, maybe see something or hear something more about what we will experience at the Illuminate Film Festival. And, can you share with us a little bit more or maybe show us a trailer?
Sure, we can dive right into the films if you'd like, because we have honestly an extraordinary lineup this year. Led by Maia, we evaluate, I would say, close to 400 films a year. Wow. And we pick the top, usually 25. This year we have 30 because there were just some real great ones. And they span several topics, right? They could be deeply about spiritual awakening. It could be about mindfulness and meditation. It could be about indigenous wisdom. It could be about, the environment and sustainability. It could be about personal growth and, human potential. Am I missing something, Maia?
Healing, deep healing, character-driven stories of seeing people overcome, challenges. And, it's so uplifting, Scott, when you get to see someone really work through their stuff and then come out the other end, and it gives you hope for your own life. So those kinds of films also really love to celebrate.
So now maybe that would be a good segue. I have looked at some of the trailers you sent me. Should we go to The Way of Miracles?
Sure.
Good segue from healing. Let's do it.
And that's a world premiere.
So go ahead and set it up for it. I've got it ready to play when you're ready, but tell us a little bit about this particular film.
Sure. Danette, why don't you?
Well, I can just intro it, but
Yeah.
Maia was the liaison for this film. But really what it is it's a way into discovering our own path to healing, because we all know that we have the power. That power is not always just, out of reach. And this is a very empowering way to introduce people to not just, the power of your emotions and your thoughts, but all of the food that you eat. And it introduces you to Dr. Mark Mincola, who is an extraordinary doctor who's led the way to healing for a number of people.
Tens of thousands of people. Wow. He's pioneered alternative healing, kinesiology, muscle testing, and really listening intuitively to our bodies, innate wisdom to guide us on our healing journey, and has been able to heal, people that weren't really served by Western medicine. So it starts to open up and expand our idea of what's possible with healing. And this film brings in Deepak Chopra and Shamini Jain and a whole bunch of other incredible humans pioneering the field of alternative healing. So you'll get to see some snippets from them as well.
Beautiful. All right. Well, God, I can't wait. Here we go with The Way of Miracles.
Your immune system is out of whack. Your immune system is attacking your body, so we need to calm down your immune system. That was what I was told.
I was told that it was bad luck, that I had just drawn the short straw, and that was simply the way that it was, and perhaps there was a genetic component.
I asked why, what is the reason, why is it coming back, why is it growing again? And he said, nobody knows. And at that point I said, no, it's not coming back, it's not growing, and I started looking for some other ways.
Early on when I first started off, I was kind of surprised to hear that so many patients were having such a hard time with Western medicine. They weren't getting answers, they were getting confused, they were getting sicker in many cases.
We have been steeped in an era of what we call materialism, fed a belief system that we are separate and that we are only physical.
So in that sense, Western medicine as it's currently practiced will never really be able to address the totality of healing of a human being.
Western medicine is missing the boat with half the equation of reality, which is energy. It's dealing at a material level.
The human body is actually not a thing, but a process.
Humans were healing and recovering from diseases long before doctors came along. This ability to heal and regenerate is just intrinsic to the very nature of life.
To me, the most important facet is to understand the dynamics, the physics, if you will, of the disease. I don't want to just shut the pain off. You're not correcting the imbalance. You're not trying to fix the problem at its root.
All this time, my body was trying to talk to me. It was almost like it spoke a language that I didn't understand.
In that appointment, I just learned so very much. That was the beginning of my feeling empowered. Like, I have a role in being well here.
This ability to heal and regenerate is influenced by nutrition, environment, by emotional and mental factors.
Your consciousness is translating your experiences into chemistry that supports health or chemistry that supports protection.
The way that we think, the way that we feel has such a powerful role in impacting our health.
And the importance of the emotions, the importance of the psyche, the importance of recognizing the spiritual nature, you could say consciousness nature of the person.
Healing is the return of the memory of wholeness from the fragmented mind to the whole mind.
We're the creators of miracles. I think it's not a matter of waiting for miracles anymore. It's a matter of rolling up our sleeves and taking up the creatorship of miracles.
As soon as I realized that I and we have the capacity to heal ourselves, I was like, why is not everybody shouting this from the rooftops?
Wow. Wow. And it's very cool. Bruce Lipton is going to actually be on our show tomorrow night. He's our keynote speaker on Saturday Night Live tomorrow. And of course, we've had Deepak. But we also going to have Danette on our show tomorrow, too. But it's wonderful to have both of you with us tonight. And what a beautiful, I'm glad that was the first trailer we showed, because it's, I think all of our audience can really relate to watching that. And we're all learning how to listen to our bodies. I loved how she spoke about, oh, I have a whole, there's a language, my body's been trying to talk to me. And that really, that's powerful.
Yeah, and you know what I love about that trailer was they talk about let's take up the creatorship of miracles. You know, that to me is the most impactful line of the whole film. And, you know, I have, you know, a very personal health journey behind me now. And it's behind me very much due to that idea that we can take up the creatorship of health miracles. And so this film is very close to my heart.
I don't know how much you want to share about that. Do you want to share a little bit more about how your personal journey has connected to all of this?
Sure. It's now something I'm comfortable talking. I'd say for 2-3 years, it was something I kept quite private, but you know, I was diagnosed with a tumor in my pituitary, and this was just before my 2018 festival, but we didn't really know what type of tumor it was. And there are some that are quite harmless, and then there are some that are quite terrible. And, you know, I didn't worry about it until I had to worry about it. But I did find out after that festival that it was a very, very destructive type of brain tumor. And so I had to make a really tough decision about what to do well, number one, with my life, but number two, with the festival as well. And this was a type of tumor that was going to destroy multiple organs and systems in my body, to the point where if there was not a successful surgery or successful healing, that, you know, it's not that I was going to die immediately, but it would certainly not only, you know, shorten the span of my life, but also, you know, restrict my life in a way that I probably wouldn't be able to work, because it does a number on your brain and your analytical ability and your memory and, you know, your ability to think, and also to the body. And it gives you, you know, it leads to a number of diseases, you know, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, muscle wasting, to the point where even just after a few months, I couldn't even hold my head sideways. And I tried to do just a very simple yoga class. I couldn't do even a single pose. So I was really thinking about where this came from and what this tumor had to come tell me, right? Why did the universe send me this message? And what did I need to listen to, and where did I need to pivot? So anyway, I won't share the long story, because that's about an hour. But you know, at the end of the day, I did end up having brain surgery, but the brain surgery was inconclusive, and I am fully healed now, and I contribute that to the alternative healing journey that I embarked on. Wow. And I can tell you this, and this is the part that's full circle in my life, is that I did the food is thy medicine. I did the cleansing. I did the juicing. I did the wheatgrassing. I did the beamer. I did I did the consciousness work. I worked with a medical medium and shaman for a year, every single week for a year, to get down to what are the emotional things that I needed to let go of. What are the lessons I needed to learn? And guess where I learned all of that? Can you guess?
Some sort of a film, or a combination of film.
Scott, you're such an intuitive guy. Yes, what I realized is that I beat this, even though the surgeons are still quite stumped, because I learned from 5 years of curating conscious film. Mm-hmm. I learned how to heal. I learned about the mind-body connection. I learned about the power of collective consciousness, when other people can pray and send intentions to the surgical room and the hospital room, and the value of all these different types of healing. I would have known very little about that. I did not start my spiritual path early. And you know, this festival that I had planned for everyone else turned out to be for myself as well.
Isn't that something? Wow.
Wow. I just want to say thank you for sharing your story, your healing journey. It's very inspirational for me specifically right now, because I'm working with some things in my life that I'm like, oh, no. And I love that you shared so freely and honestly, and the impact of the films on you. And so I know that Illuminate will offer your viewers and your guests an opportunity to take their healing or take their transformation into their own hands from the comfort of their home, right?
That's basically what we're up. I mean, transformed by film is our one of our taglines, because really, you know, Danette keeps talking about this too, is that what we're offering is a new story of media as medicine, right? Mm-hmm. Films that actually become medicine because of where they're coming from, because of the intention of the filmmakers, because of the deep messages, and just like what you said, Trish, because of the stories that people are willing to share and be captured on film sharing. and that are so inspiring because they open our minds to what's possible. And then when you know what's possible, you can live into that future yourself.
Yeah. And when I finally drummed up the courage to share this story and make it public, the first question that came back was, which films? So I actually put together, because it was like this demand, right? Like, well, everybody was going through some kind of health journey. So tell me what films, helped you. And so I put together this list and I actually posted it on our website. I brought it up here just so I could remember to share it with everybody. Actually, it's a long URL, but it's illuminatefilmfestival.com/Danette-healing-journey-films. Did you get all that?
That's beautiful. You know what? If you put it in the chat box, and then I can pull it up and we can show it to everybody.
Okay, I'll do it.
And while you're doing that too, Scott, this is also a great segue in that a lot of Danette's journey, and my healing journey too, by the way, I really resonate with a lot of the same things that Danette. I didn't have the brain tumor, but I've definitely been going through a deep healing journey around my digestion and around my ability to have healthy skin. So I've learned so much from this film, The Way of Miracles, and so much from the films that Danette has also, I would say, prescribed, but shared with us, that we actually now have developed a course, actually as part of Illuminate. We call it the Life Quest Masterclass Series, and we're doing a mini version of it for the first time we've ever actually shared this kind of teaching course, coaching masterclass series that actually gives you a playlist of films that you watch during the course, and we get to talk back and discuss and dive deeper into and kind of pull the tools out and empower each other to use the tools during the course. So we're really excited about that as also an offering.
Wow. Okay, well, I do have Danette's, so here is Danette's Healing Journey Films. And I love that you put that together. And it's so personal. The Power of the Heart armed me with a critical tool for my healing journey, an internal GPS. Beautiful. The Value of Alternative Health in Bipolarized, all about somebody giving up pharmaceuticals and using shamanic healing and trauma release work, yoga, inner child work. Body-Mind Connection, 3 films, E-Motion, All the Rage, and Heal, all about the body-mind connection. Learning about food as medicine. May I Be Frank? I know that movie. That's a great movie. This is really awesome. This is just, now I want to go out and like make a list of the movies that have impacted and really shaped my life, right?
I would love to know what those are, Scott, and because a lot of people don't actually really stop to think about it. And it took even me, who is a festival director and curator, it took me this disease to actually make me think about where I have sourced my healing information, where I have learned the teachings that built the belief system that I have. Because you know what? Media is so important in our lives. Everything we watch, we absorb.
Yeah.
Right. And so being selective about what it is we watch, it's like being selective about what it is we eat, And so I want to say that because there was a question in the chat here about what I think the key to my healing was. And, after I watched Heal and I saw modern day shamans helping people move through and source the illness somewhere in there. I turned to a shaman, a modern day shaman named Sonia Flores Lugo. And actually she was so called to Illuminate. And she was our theater manager in 2018, right? She drove from Colorado to volunteer for Illuminate, and she ran one of our theaters. And in doing so, she connected so deeply with the vision of Illuminate that she donated a year of work with me.
Wow.
Every single week, 2 hours every single week, so that this vision of Illuminate can continue to be channeled. At least so that, right, it doesn't get lost.
Wow.
So, and I will tell you what the key is. The key for me, and I think it'd be different for every single person, because she had me sit in a committee meeting with my tumor and with my internal physician and ask the tough questions. And the answer that I got was, Danette, you need to learn to surrender.
Yes.
And that is still the greatest lesson of my life. And I will tell you that the evening of my surgery, when the doctors inferred that it was a failure and that it didn't work, I went into the state of the deepest surrender that I have ever went to in my life. And it was because I had to surrender to what my life might look like now. And every dream that I had was, you know, potentially going to the wayside. And I had to come up with why that was a blessing.
Mm.
And in order to do that, you have to be in the deepest state of surrender, because you have to trust the universe with everything that you have. And you have to know that there's a reason why this has been given to you, and you need to know and see the gift and be able to work with it. And in that moment, I turned to my partner, Drew, and I said, Drew, I know this is the weirdest thing ever, because I'm crying, and you know, the doctor has walked out and I can barely catch my breath about what I'm facing. And yet I said to him, I said, I need you to, he's a photographer. I said, I need you to turn the camera on me. And he said, why? Because, you know, here I am in this hospital gown and I've got bandages all over my face. And I said, because the only reason I can think of that I have to go through this, or that I am going through this, is because I am going to help other people through it. And I said, and if that's why this is my destiny, then let me embrace it fully. And it was, interestingly, that deep moment of surrender that changed the course of everything. And that next morning, they took tests every 6 hours, and they had to measure my cortisol levels. And they knew that if my cortisol levels crashed, then I was going to be okay, that I would actually have the possibility of healing. And the day before, they'd taken out the tumor and they didn't find what they were supposed to find. And so they were obviously very deflated. And yet that next morning, those cortisol levels, which by the way, were supposed to be under 5, regular cortisol levels are about 20. They started out at 85. And then a few hours later, they were 40 something. And then a few hours later, they were 20 something. And a few hours later, it was 11. And a few hours later, it was 4. And I walked out of there knowing I was going to be healed. And I am.
Mm.
What a powerful story. What a powerful journey that you've been on. It's so important to share that.
Someday I wish Drew maybe took like 2 photos and like 1 video, and then, you know, he was like, I'm not gonna, you know, film you while you're down. He just felt bad about it. But I almost wish he had listened to me, because, you know, this is the story. I just think it could help so many people. And I also think that that these films can do for other people what they did for me.
You know, I'm really touched by your story now. Like, I'm personally touched by this. Scott knows, but I've been dealing with this knee issue that has increased over the last few years, to a point where for 2 weeks I couldn't move. I could go to the couch and I could go to the bed. And I'm a dancer. I'm a hiker. This is how I've learned to move my body, to embody my feelings, to really be in the present moment. And I wept, and I got to a point where I was like, I may never be able to dance again. I might need surgery. I might need these things. And I can love me here and I can be with this. And I spent 2 days just weeping and letting go. And I'm hearing your story, really feeling like validated that this is the right way. It's like, okay, whatever the universe, whatever, my spirit wants is talking to me deeply, and to trust that place and just be able to shift and move and dance with what comes to you, rather than being really attached to an outcome. I mean, you had to really come to a point of acceptance, which Scott knows this too, is like my definition over the last year and a half of love has changed from whatever it was that I thought it was to radical acceptance of what is.
Yes.
And it took me, it was dark in there for a while. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing the things that I'm being called to do. And if I sit on the couch all day and like connect over the internet, and that's what I do from now on, this is something that I can be okay with. Is, my life doesn't have to look like that, and it's so crucial for people in even more severe or scary situations to find that surrender, dialysis or cancer or people who are on a hospice. Like it's so important to be able to connect to other aspects of healing. And I loved, oh my God, when you said that you got to dialogue, when you got to do a triad or a dyad with your with your tumor and your physician, I was like, oh my God, I love Gestalt work like so freaking much. It's kind of ridiculous. But and that you're sharing these healing films, like you two, these strong, powerful women in the world are like, you know what? We've got things for you. You can sit in your underwear on your couch and you can eat your popcorn, eat your like healthy food, eat your non-healthy food, do whatever you want, and get the downloads that will change your life. Like, it's so crucial. And this is so, so critical in the time we are in, especially for the millennials and the other generations, because we love the screen and we love the films. And so I'd love to hear a little, like another piece, maybe see something that will, a teaser. No, another
trailer.
Yeah.
Another trailer. All right. What should we choose next?
Maybe aware.
Okay.
Glimpses of consciousness. Do you want to set it up, Danette? It's another one that I know that you really love too. I love it as well. And it's a good film that builds bridges, right, for these kinds of stories.
Yeah, this film is really it connects so many things. It's really just about the study of consciousness. So, you can kind of back out of the micro and look a little bit at the macro picture and what really is consciousness. So I don't want to give away too much. We can talk about it a little bit after you show a clip.
Okay, here we go. Aware.
We see the world as separate from us, and we see things, not beings. And so the moment we appreciate what consciousness really is, this one big ocean that expresses itself through different forms and shapes, then, as the plants have taught me many times, what you see is just you. You wouldn't hurt yourself. You wouldn't kill yourself. You wouldn't destroy anything. You wouldn't behave as we do in our environment, because that is you too.
Wow. Was that the full trailer?
That was actually a clip from the film.
I see. Okay. The cinematography was so beautiful, just exquisite.
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you that This is not only an extraordinary film topically, but it's an extraordinarily well-made film that I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but it definitely made the Sundance shortlist, Sundance Film Festival shortlist. You know, there's these two filmmakers are veteran filmmakers, and we chose this film as our opening night film.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's beautifully, beautifully shot. You know, a little while ago, you shared something that inspired me, and I'm going to share, and then I'm going to ask all of you to share. You talked about how movies, you know, impacted us, obviously how it impacted your life. And it was interesting because right away I thought about, okay, what movies have had the biggest impact on me in my life and who I became? And I'd never made the connection that I just about made. My favorite movie of all time is the 1959 version of Ben-Hur. And there's a moment in that movie that to me is one of the greatest scenes of all time. It's when Ben-Hur is going through the desert and he's dying of thirst, and the Romans have been told like, make it as hard as possible for him. And he's desperate for water, and they stop at a spot where everybody else is getting water, but they're not letting him have water. They're teary-eyed. And you see Jesus. They happen to have stopped where Jesus is a carpenter, and he comes over to give water to the people. And he sees Ben-Hur and he brings water to him. And the Roman soldier, you know, picks up his whip and he's about to, you know, whip them. And you never see Jesus' face. You just see him from the back. And Jesus just turns and looks at the soldier. And the actor who played that Roman soldier doesn't have a word, gave a performance that here I am crying about it 50 years later. In his face, you see his transformation from cruel and in his trip to his own embarrassment that he has been like that. And it's such a brilliant scene of the power of compassion and the power of the Christ through love, right? And here I am, you're crying telling it, but it's like there's a moment of a movie that absolutely, to this day, is a spiritual experience for me. You know, and I don't identify as Christian. I'm kind of a universalist, but that movie, there it is. That to me is spirituality in a beautiful 60-second segment of a movie that I will never forget. And Trish and I teach compassion. Compassion is at the foundation of the work that we do. So there's how a moment in a movie absolutely changed my life. So thank you for letting me share that.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Scott. That's so beautiful. It reminded me of I've had many of those moments. I mean, this is why I became a filmmaker. Many of those moments. And so I really feel your heart in sharing that, and the power of storytelling, really powerful transformational storytelling. And I had that moment. I had a moment like that with one of the films in the festival. And I don't know if we have the trailer for it, but and surprisingly, it was the moment came literally within the first few minutes of the film.
Wow.
And it's a first film ever made about Ken Wilber's life.
Wow.
The Einstein of consciousness, Ken Wilber, right? Prolific writer and philosopher. And filmmaker Sebastian Siegel made this film called Grace and Grit. And we're having a special screening in the in-person Sedona part of the festival. And it's the story of him and his wife, who had to battle her getting cancer days after they married. I mean, they didn't even make it to their honeymoon. And just how intense of an initiation that the very, very drawn out journey was for them. But actually the moment that got me, like that moment for you, Scott, was actually, and you would appreciate this for being a love coach, but I rarely see this moment captured well on film, but the moment where two souls recognize each other. Like really, like they've just met, but there's this depth of love and connection and soulmatehood. and like purpose and presence, and this feeling of we've been lifetimes together and this is the moment we get to reunite. And you feel it. You feel that kind of love that they have in the first few moments when they of the movie when they meet. So this deep romance, you know, it's like the movie The Fountain or like The Tree of Life. There's this deep romance of significance in their connection, and yet this incredible tragedy that they're both become initiated by, and the story of what it takes, the love, the depth of love it takes to be able to transcend our greatest challenges. And it's such a film for our times in that way, to teach resilience and to teach grace and compassion, exactly what you said, Scott. So we're really grateful to also have that film, and we're going to have an incredible panel, actually, a luminary conversation following that film with the director, with Ken Wilber, who rarely ever gives talks or interviews ever, maybe a handful in his entire life. And he's coming on to a panel with Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, and the director of this film. And so we're so grateful to be hosting this year's festival.
What time and when? I want to be there. Where's that going to be?
Well, it's an in-person event. Can you make it to Sedona?
Oh, God. It's the second time in 3 weeks that I've been invited to Sedona.
But we are recording it. We're recording it, and we will be sharing. Yeah, we will share the recording, and we will definitely look out for that, because it's an incredible film. And then the film Grace and Grit, you know, will also be available later.
So are Marianne, Deepak, and Ken actually coming to Sedona?
They're coming together online. They actually all wanted to come to Sedona in person. I will say so many of the guests were excited that Illuminate was coming back and would have loved to come to the festival. Of course, we're in that transition time, right? Where, you know, it was hard to get commitments months in advance for them to come without knowing that it was safe, or, you know, with COVID's restrictions, we just decided to do it online virtually, but we came close to having it in person.
Wow. Wow. Well, definitely, yeah. It's interesting. Trish and I almost went to Sedona for the big Mark Sims event that I carried on May 4th. I mean, we were on the phone, we were figuring out, looking at schedules, and we just realized it wasn't quite the right time, but we almost went to Sedona. And next time, next year for sure.
Well, this is away, right? So if we knew a little bit ahead, this would be the second one. Yeah. Wait, be a third invitation to Sedona? Are we actually going to get there? It's drawing us, Scott. Obviously, we're being magnetized.
Sedona is calling.
Sedona does that. Sedona definitely does that. So when you guys get here, you give me a ring, and we'll go meditate on the vortex together.
Absolutely. We'll go up to, you know what I love is the top of Schnebley Hill. That's where I always like to go and hang.
I was going to say, speaking of meditating on vortexes and connecting with galactic beings, one of the films in the festival, also The Rememberer, right, is with Stefano Mattias, who actually is, you know, a reincarnation of someone from Atlantis.
Oh, wow.
And from a lot of other ancient civilizations. He calls himself an indigo child, but basically he's had full recall of his past lives through actually going to vortexes and going to these sacred sites and having more and more of the recall coming about since his childhood. And the film is about his story and about sort of his wisdom that's come through in remembering his past lives. So we could show a clip of that.
Yeah, I've got the trailer right here. As you were talking, I pulled it up. So let's take a look. And this is called The Rememberer.
The Rememberer.
Wow.
En el principio, solo existía el Mahas, el vacío durmiente. Sus sueños eran 3. Ham, la inspiración. Het, la contemplación. Hum, la exhalación. Y su respiración se volvió música. y por su canto, Mahas despertó.
Nosotros venimos de las estrellas y de la tierra. Somos el pueblo de los Sem, los humanos. Como humanos teníamos la misión de ser puente entre el cielo y la tierra. Las cosas existen porque uno las crea. Sé que puedo atravesar el tiempo y el espacio. Sé que puedo transformar la realidad. El ser expresa una realidad, crea una realidad, vive todos los aspectos posibles de esa realidad para al final tener que soltar toda esa realidad sabiendo que nunca nada de eso fue cierto, sino que solamente fue una forma de entenderse a sí mismo. Vinimos a hacer que el cielo y la tierra vuelvan a ser uno y que las puertas entre las estrellas se abran a través del tiempo y el espacio, aquí y ahora en este lugar.
I love how that movie took us to so many different places. I mean, beautifully filmed again, incredible cinematography. And in like, whatever it was, 3 minutes, we just went to all these beautiful, exotic places and yet saw them through his eyes. Someone whose name I don't even know, right? I mean, that's pretty amazing.
A name you should definitely get to know, though, Scott. He has a huge following. He has his own show on Gaia.
Oh, wow.
Matthias De Stefano, yeah, incredible. He's a rising spiritual teacher, I believe, for our times, and incredible. Like, so I know your audience would super resonate with this film and his teachings. In fact, right now as we speak, he's actually doing an entire year taking people on tours to sacred sites and in Egypt and doing all of these incredible ceremonies to help awaken our dormant DNA to help evolve humanity. So he's on his grand mission to bring these teachings back and to help us all remember.
Wow. Wow. Well, yes, please connect me. You know, let's have him on one of our shows and, you know, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
Matthias De Stefano.
you know, I have
He's from Argentina.
I've
Yeah.
heard the name somewhere. That name is familiar, but I haven't connected with him. So we're doing a show at the end of June, at the end of World Unity Week, where you're kind of like the big event. And it's all about spirituality from around the world. So he'd be a perfect person to be on that show. By the way, I just want to acknowledge Nancy in our chat room, who was very touched by Danette's story. She kind of shared about her healing journey. So thank you. I'm glad that this is touching you. And thank you, Nancy, for sharing so vulnerably. I think we've got a couple more trailers to take a look at. I mean, I'm loving this.
We do. And actually, I wanna save Samadhi Road for last, Maya, because that's our closing night film. But in the meantime, I think this is a good time to jump over into the One Field. That is kind of hovers in the science and spirituality realm. And I also just wanted to mention at the close, right, of the Rememberer, that one of the new elements that Maia, as a lead curator, brought to Illuminate this year was how to embrace films as a transmission. So, you know, there are a lot of emotional movie watchers. There are a lot of, you know, mental movie watchers, people who really like to learn the information and acquire the wisdom and the knowledge. And Maia started to really emphasize people who are there as watchers who are looking for an actual transmission in the viewing experience. And that is where the Rememberer, it falls into that slot. There are a few other films that are very also contemplative, meditative, and it doesn't necessarily tell you what you need to know, but you just know it by the time that film is done. And I don't know if Maya, you want to comment on that before we jump into the One Field.
Absolutely. It's scientifically proven now that certain frequencies of sound, of music, of intention, of thought, of emotion, they literally impact us on a cellular level. And so one thing that I didn't mention before, but I grew up also as an intuitive, a psychic intuitive, very incredibly highly sensitive energetically. And so for me, whether someone's saying something or not, if they're embodying it and they're exuding, like they're really living what they're saying, you can feel it, right? And when I feel it, that's when I call that, okay, I'm getting their transmission. They're actually sending through, the waves of light and sounds right now, their whole embodied life experience. If you've ever been with an avatar, a great avatar spiritual teacher, right? Scott, you may have, Amma, you go and you're in a room with Amma, the hugging saint of India, you feel, right? You feel, she doesn't even have to, you don't even understand what she's saying, but you can tell that you're being uplifted, right? And so now there's this whole new, pioneers of filmmaking that are actually thinking, I should say, more coming from a place of, is everybody in the project embodying this transmission? And how do we actually, from the core level, share this with people so that when you go into the movie theater and you watch this film, you're taken on a shamanic journey. It's like going and getting a healing session with an energy healer. You're actually receiving something much more than just what's being seen on camera. And so we've got some special films, like The Remember is definitely one of them. The One Field is another that really dives deep into the science and the measurement of consciousness, but at the same time, the filmmaker brought in these incredible sound healers and energy workers, and they're showing how it works. They're actually showing the science of how energy works and can be tracked, but you're also feeling it. You're feeling it as you're watching it. And one of our other programming assistants, Jennifer Padham, she literally was in tears after watching this movie, saying her life will never be the same. Literally heart blown open, mind blown open. And it's a film that you kind of have to be ready for. But when you're at that point in your life where you're ready to be taken to the next level, you're ready to dive deep, some of these films are the films for you. It's like a 2-hour, this one's a long one, it's a 2-hour journey, but it's a 2-hour journey that takes you through the wormholes of thought and emotion and also the nature of our reality. And Lee Carroll, the channeler, is featured in this film. Lynn McTaggart doing her intention experiments in The One Field. I'm sure you know about Lynn. We're giving her an award this year, the Humanitarian Award for her great work. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, all of the people we love are in this film, as well as many incredible pioneering scientists that are coming up with the measurement tools to show how everything that Lee Carroll has channeled can be proven by science now. So it's really fascinating. It's the first film I've seen of its kind. And I believe we have a trailer for it.
Yeah, here it is. There's the trailer for The One Field.
Can humans find a time when they will allow space for what they don't believe is possible?
For 300 years, science has asked the question, is there a field of energy that connects everything?
Where do our thoughts go when we die?
Someday, there will be inventions in physics, and when they do, you will see that consciousness is energy. What human beings think collectively can be measured.
You have hundreds of thousands of molecules. They can exchange vibrations all over around the field. This is chemistry, but it's a kind of dancing chemistry.
In consciousness, we can communicate and perceive anywhere throughout the entire universe.
Energy increased dramatically.
Distance does not matter.
The field is the origin of everything. And that's what the music is actually doing.
It's connecting to the field.
An amazing result.
What is a thought? Thought is a particle of light. We can measure it.
Our thoughts are broadcast to the field.
What happens in one part of the field influences other parts of the field in the same instant. And this is deeply profound.
The data has even surprised us. We are far more interconnected and synchronized with the Earth's magnetic fields than we ever would have predicted.
Is Jerusalem on?
Jerusalem is on.
We have people from Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, Tunisia, Bahrain, Kuwait City.
This is so emotional.
We also have many thousands of people from all over the world participating on YouTube, all coming together for a historic event.
The peace is already here.
Oh, wow.
Did anybody else get the chills from that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, that one, that is a big picture film. And it also draws on a lot of data, you know, so it brings in a whole community of people that are really interested in seeing science, the science of consciousness. And so, as Maia can attest, you know, we had a number of our screeners just say, that blew my mind. So, yeah, dive into that one, folks.
And you know, we didn't mention this part too. A really important part of the film, which I know you were wowing about, Scott, is, you know, they really brought people together from all over the world, and they did a peace pilgrimage. You know, Lee Carroll did a peace pilgrimage in, I think, 2014 to Israel. And they did these prayers and intention settings and meditations, peace meditations, where they actually tracked that they made a huge difference in the conflicts that were rising up there. It subdued after all of these global efforts to hold these meditations and bring more peace to humanity. So it was incredible. And they're still doing that work as we speak, especially with the things that have happened in Israel recently. So just such important work.
All right, so we, on Facebook, one of our people wanted to know, how did they get tickets? So I've gone to, is this the right website for us to go to? Eventive.org/Illuminate 2021, yeah?
Yes.
And so just guide me through this website for a little bit so we can get kind of, now that we know that we are going to cancel all work between May 20th and 26th. Trish, get your butt over here. Let's get going to Sedona. Yeah, tell us, you know, like, what are the live events? What are the online events? Walk me through the website here.
Okay, great, Scott. So this right here is our virtual festival. Okay. So when they come to this site, you know, they know that this is where just the 2021 virtual films, panels, and events will be. So, you know, we could start at the top here in the, you know, the featured carousel, which are 3 gala films, 2 of which we've mentioned tonight. Of course, The Aware, Glimpses of Consciousness is our opening, Seeds of Vandana Shiva, which we should probably take a moment to address and talk about. And then, of course, Samadhi Road, which hopefully we'll still have time for one more trailer.
Absolutely, we will.
Okay. Or 2, maybe if we could squeeze Unsinkable in there as well. So then if you scroll down.
And just a question, so it says pre-order now. So people, it's not like you buy one ticket to the whole festival, although I assume you can, but you can also buy these movies on a movie by movie basis.
Exactly. So if you hit pre-order now, you're buying an individual ticket to that film, which, you know, in this case is $12. You could see right down here. Right. And as part of your $12, you will also, if you look at the 3 boxes on the right there, mm-hmm. You'll see that the first box is an intro from Maia, who is somebody in the film. And then the film comes next. And then below that, you'll see live Q&A. Wow. And that is scheduled. You can watch the movie anytime in the 7-day festival window, right? But you can, in order to connect directly, you know, with the filmmakers and the subjects of the film, you want to access the Q&A at the scheduled time. But
Got it.
once you buy tickets, you get all three of these things.
Okay, this is really good to know. So just to recap, you have 7 days to watch any of the movies, but the follow-up live events, you want to come in. Now, will the live events be recorded? Can people see the recordings of the live events if they can't make it live?
Absolutely. In fact, if you want to scroll up to the top menu there, Scott,
Sure.
you can see live streams.
Right.
Those are all the live Q&A events.
Holy moly.
Yes. And so we generally have one for every screening program. And that's where some of our really esteemed wisdom teachers and, obviously incredible filmmakers are all coming in. And as soon as a live stream is finished, it actually automatically records and you can watch the recording for the rest of the window.
My gosh, this looks fantastic. I love it. Storytellers are the shamans of today. That's a great topic, huh?
Oh yeah, and we haven't even gone over to the industry side of the festival, which is that we produce an entire conference for filmmakers and aspirants of conscious filmmaking, and we bring in the best of the best to advise everybody on the financing, the production, the marketing, the distribution, the storytelling of conscious films. And I got to tell you, this is the best lineup we've ever had. We've even got, Pete Docter, who's the chief creative officer of Pixar, coming to tell us about how he makes the magic.
Wow.
And he just won the Oscar for Soul, and he's got several Oscars for all of his other films, Up, and Inside Out. We love him. And so he's coming and receiving an award from us, inspiration, impact and inspiration storytelling award.
Is that one of these events I'm saying here, or is that in a different spot?
Oh yeah. So, okay, let's go back to go up and hit catalog, and I'll just run you through some of the festival highlights. So if you
There's
keep
the big
going,
3 films, the big galas. There's the spotlights.
we've got 4 spotlight films that have really, really terrific live stream Q&As. I'd get to Unsinkable in a moment, that has some terrific wisdom teachers in that too.
Okay.
Then we've got contemporary conscious cinema, which again is a section of a variety of different conscious topics, mostly docs. We go down into a shorts program.
Well, I'll say real quick too, Run Woman Run, you'll like too, Scott. It's a narrative with actors, a beautiful comeback story with indigenous wisdom, really bringing in, reconnecting with earth and indigenous wisdom.
And which one is that?
Run Woman Run, there with the runner, the runners. Yeah.
Wow. And all of these, you see, all of these have questions and answers and everything afterwards for only $12. Incredible.
That's right. And she'll keep going through the rest. I just wanted to highlight that one. Go ahead.
Thank you. And of course, we saw the trailer for the One Field and for the Rememberer. So we have a little taste of those.
So now I think these 2 shorts programs, Conscious Shorts 1 and 2, are actually, I think, the best shorts program we've put together ever in history. And they hover around.
Really proud of them.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of shorts, I really highly recommend these this year. You could see in the right there.
Back in the day, I used to always go to where they would put the 5 Oscar-nominated shorts together in a film, and you'd go see all of them together. And
one of the shorts actually that we're screening is in front of another film was shortlisted for the Oscars too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Kape Mahu. So, all right, I want to keep going because I know we have limited time here.
There's Lynn McTaggart doing a special event.
Yeah, those 2 are the special events. Live Quest, which is the whole 9-day guided course experience with masterclasses with Sonia Rakati, who is a bounce back expert.
Wow.
And then, of course, Lynn's experiment. And then down here is where we have the conscious film convergence. So Scott, maybe you want to attend since you're a filmmaker and this is your tribe. This is your tribe. And I got to tell you that every filmmaker that comes to this goes, oh my gosh, I didn't even know there was a community of people just like me who want to tell a story and want to tell a story for the good of all. And I also want my set to be conscious. I want my team to be conscious. You know, I want to live what I'm preaching. And so this is the community that comes together. This year, it's all online.
Wow.
And we have, I mean, you can just, you know, click into any one of these and we have just sort of a stellar, you know, lineup of people here. You know, for example, we have Level Forward. That's Abigail Disney. So we have the COO of Abigail Disney's company,
Wow.
you know, joining us. We have, you know, Sophie Janicki Bowles. She's an actual researcher on how the images on screen actually deeply impact your worldview, impact your value system, impact your mood, impact your emotions. You know, so we have lots of people coming from really New York and LA, from the cream of the crop.
You've got Christopher Vogler. I read The Writer's Journey, and then I also did the workbook 20 years ago. That is like the Bible for screenwriters, is that book. And you've got Christopher. That's amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He, you know, he's a big get because, you know, he changed the industry in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. He took Joseph Campbell's understanding, which is of course what was the inspiration for Star Wars. And he applied it to, you know, the whole journey of the writer. It's a brilliant book. Absolutely brilliant.
Yep. It's epic. It was a game changer. And so, you know, we've shown a lot of mythic storytelling in film, and you know, that's a big part of Illuminate. So we really wanted to honor him and bring him up.
All right, let me go back to this. I'm getting very excited. I'm not going to get anything done between May 19th and May 26th. And you know, I have to show up at an event on the evening of the 26th. I've got something I'm doing that night, I think.
It might be something really fun, and it might be a closing night party for Illuminate.
That's right. I'm doing the closing night party. This is great.
I want to highlight one thing that honestly is, there are a few seats open, and I want to highlight Take 20, which was you just passed. Yeah, right there. Take 20 industry mentoring, because this is the opportunity of a lifetime for anybody who is making a film project or who is aspiring to a film project, because this is a chance to get 3 one-on-one 20-minute meetings with people that it would probably take 2 years for you to get even to these people to get a meeting.
Wow.
And they have, you know, committed to being there to mentor anybody who signs up for this program. Now, you have to be a pass holder. You have to be an all access pass holder to the festival, right? Which is the full festival pass. But we have an incredible number of really, again, cream of the crop industry mentors who can coach you in various things. We have the CEO of Kino Lorber. That's a major distribution company. And, you know, most of the time filmmakers are really pitching to try and get distributed by a company like that. They have a special interest in conscious cinema. You know, we have Pedram Shojai, right, who is the urban monk. He just started a new platform called Hole.tv, and he's looking for content. So of course you'd want to connect with him. He also does a lot of training around how to develop and market a conscious webinar series. You know, we have, for example, Sarah Mossis. She is the CEO of Together Films. Now, she's a hot name in the industry right now because she's figured out how to do impact campaigns like nobody else, right? We have, I'm looking there, Leela Meadow Connor, who is the executive director of the Film Festival Alliance. So she knows every film festival director on the planet, and she can give you some strategy about how to get into festivals, which festivals to pick, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I won't.
I'm going to jump in too. I want to really even bring more context to this. These are the people. I mean, this is what makes Illuminate so unique, right? We're bridging the consciousness movement and the film industry. We're really trying to get support, raise the quality of the filmmaking, and really these are the people that are going to make and break some of these films, to actually see them be successful, see their next project get funded. This is the goal here, is to actually really support the artists and have more of these films come out in the world.
Exactly. That's our mission as well. We want to increase the quality, quantity, and accessibility of conscious media so it can change the world. And how do we do that? We have to go right into the industry itself and start changing from the inside out, right? So we want to actually help filmmakers get their best film made, get their best film distributed, get their best film marketed. And that's the way, guys, that we're going to evolve humanity.
I knew you guys were doing good stuff, but really, honestly, I had no idea the level you were playing at. I figured, okay, they've got like 4 or 5 nice little movies they're going to show, and I had no idea you were playing at this level. I'm actually humbled, and I'm just really impressed. And now I want everyone in the world to know of this festival. My God, everybody needs to know about this, at least of our group. We are going to do big promotion for you tomorrow night, but this is really something, really, really something. Wow.
Thank you, Scott. And you're part of it. You're
Yeah.
part of it. You're part of our tribe.
I'm honored and I'm excited. I get to co-host their closing night party, which I'm really looking forward to. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Well, gosh, you had referenced. We've got 2 more trailers.
Unsinkable. Unsinkable.
So tell us about Unsinkable.
So Unsinkable is kind of one of those films that literally everybody can embrace, because it's reflective of what we've all just been through the last year. And whether it's just a big life event, whether you found yourself down in the dumps at some point in your life, whether you've struggled to connect with people over the last year, whether you've had financial difficulties, whatever it might be, this film is about bouncing back. It's a film about being unsinkable. Take a look.
All right, here we go. I was so enamored of what you were sharing. Here we go. Got it.
The hardest thing I've ever had to overcome was to be at my mother's bedside watching her die.
Prognosis is probably I'd never walk again.
A year ago, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. We didn't even know.
And then I remember that one morning, I woke up and was in complete darkness.
And my whole life was falling apart. I wanted to get out so bad and couldn't.
I think what happens is when we're faced with trauma or crisis, or when we're faced with a difficult time, there's an event that sets that off. And the brain freezes an image and takes a snapshot, and that's called a memory. The latest research on memory says when you tell the story of that past experience, 50% of what people talk about isn't even the truth.
Our minds are causing all our suffering.
In every situation, there's a space between the situation and how you respond to it.
All beliefs are just choices. You can choose to believe this or you can choose to believe that.
How can people that are so brilliant be broke and somebody else who is functionally illiterate become a multimillionaire? How does that happen? It happens because of the programming in our subjective mind.
What we put our attention on grows stronger in our lives.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
And those are the life-defining moments, often after tragedies.
And so it's funny because my success was born out of the chaos.
Everything that I ever thought was a problem turned out to be a gift.
You look back and you actually are thankful for that thing.
How low you've gone is how high you'll rise.
There's studies on this. People who have achieved great heights and success often had huge losses before.
You would not be here if you hadn't survived everything that ever happened to you, which proves to you you can survive this.
Being unsinkable to me means I must find a way up and out.
Shift your mind and you will shift your life.
That's another one of those ones where it's like, all my friends are in it. There's Marcy Shimoff. There's John Gray. There's, all of our friends are in these. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. That's the family right there. And actually, the Q&A, let's see, Marcy is participating in the Q&A, and so is Bob Proctor, and so is Lisa Nichols, and of course, Riley Dane, the director, and Sonia Riccati, who is the main subject of the doc. And, this one, I personally love inspirational films, because when you leave a film and you just feel like you are ready to live life at its fullest, that film has truly done its job. And this is one of those. And actually, Sonia Riccati is also co-teaching with Maia on the Life Quest 9-day experience. So yeah, you're going to have a window into her world.
Maia, anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, we're just, again, really excited to take people on the journey, right? Just like Danette shared, and just like Trish shared and I shared, we all have stories of being challenged in our life. But when we find each other, when we share our stories, when we share our tools, and actually start to hold each other accountable, right? Start to find our tribe and go on the journey together, it becomes so powerful. We're not alone. And that's one of the things that coming together and watching these films reminds us. We're not alone, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And even our theme, the theme of the festival is we're emerging. We're emerging out of this dark time, out of this struggle. We're merging into a new world. And what is that new world but what we're co-creating together? So these films give us an opportunity to have a vision for that. And so in the master classes and the Life Quest, we're going to help people get inspired, give them tools, give them opportunity to start to craft a new vision for their life and all they need to really uplift them and start over and just become really strong and resilient and unsinkable and really go for their dreams and know it's possible. So I'm just so excited to be able to dive in there and support people like that.
Wow.
And I want to jump in because I'm seeing some questions in the chat. We want to tell everybody, because I think the question was, how about combining many of these films and putting it on the big screen? Well, we do have many of these films on the big screen. So we are going to be projecting in Sedona. If you're anywhere in driving distance, or you're just feeling the calling to fly into Sedona, we have big outdoor screening, right? Where we have a 8 foot wide screen. And we have 3 drive-in screenings where we are playing these films. And then we also have 3 solid days of back-to-back screenings in the theater. So whatever your comfort level, we have something for you. And also the other question was, how about making them available to all world citizens? And guess what? They are. Because we have, basically acquired the rights for these 7 days to show these films to everybody in the world. That is extremely rare for a festival. Most festivals only serve their country, the country that they're in. But because we are at the frontier of this particular genre of transformational media, we have, the biggest reach, and we are really leading the way in supporting these films getting out to the world. So other than just a handful of them, they are open worldwide. You could tell your friends in Germany or Brazil or Australia to watch, and they will be able to watch with you.
This has been so, and we have one more trailer to watch, I know that, but I've learned so much. What I want to do is and I've never done this with Straight Talk before. I actually want to do a repeat performance of this video and promote it tomorrow night, because everybody needs to see this. Everybody needs to catch your enthusiasm, see some of these trailers, so that they can start registering and signing up and not missing this amazing 7 days. So I'll send you guys both the links. You may want to even send out the link to your email list. I'm going to send it out to my email list, and I'm going to schedule a special repeat performance of just showing this video. I think maybe on Sunday night, because this is really important. This is really, really amazing what you guys have done.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. We so appreciate you seeing, right, the work that we are intending to do for the world and being a part of it and being a part of that team, Scott, because we also honor the work that you and Trish have been doing here and also for decades.
That's true. Well, God bless you. This is great. And all right, tell us about our last trailer, your closing night. I'm going to see the trailer for your closing night film, which is called Somebody Wrote. Tell us about it.
So this is a film, I'm going to share this beforehand, but it's a film that had a deep impact on me. And I walked away from this, I almost felt like my frequency was elevated for several days after watching this film. But I'm going to leave it to Maia to introduce, because I know this is just one of her, we're not supposed to have like favorites. It's like a parent who has a favorite child. But this one is really true to Maia's heart.
Yes. And Jeanette jokes all the time, they're all your little babies, like I get, because I've been stewarding them and discovering them and meeting the filmmakers and really like, championing them to be in this festival. So this is definitely one of them. These are first-time filmmakers, and it doesn't show because it's an incredibly high-quality, beautiful film, and it's just immediately heartwarming because immediately you feel where their intention is coming from and where they're telling the story from. It's these two young men that had such a deep connection to their grandparents, to being around their grandparents, to hearing the wisdom of their grandparents, that they realized it's almost like a lost art to listen deeply to the wisdom of our elders. And they sought out to travel the world and seek out some of the greatest masters, some of the most, world-renowned musicians that have had their own spiritual awakenings, and listen to their stories, like listen to what it was like for them transitioning from that, that incredible, a moment of having a transcendent spiritual experience and making sense of it in your life, in your world, and how your life changes forever afterwards. And they had synchronicity guiding them the whole way. So they got to, synchronistically end up being, invited to videotape and have a conversation with like Sonny Rollins, one of the most famous jazz musicians, and then all along the way they were, and then all these other different stages, but also Muji was the one that they were really, really hoping to speak with. And it took them a long time. I don't want to give too much away here, but I'll just say that there's so much transmission, right? We talked about that earlier. There's so much transmission in this film, and it's because these filmmakers actually just listened. They listened from their hearts and got to have these deep conversations that we all get to benefit from. So there's more to it, and I'm just excited for everyone to see this movie.
Okay, great. Beautiful introduction from both of you. Thank you. Very exciting.
Por alguma razão, desde muito cedo eu soube reconhecer que existia um valor profundo em sentar-se aos pés dos meus avós para escutar o que eles quisessem me contar. Apenas bem mais tarde é que eu descobri que isso que acontecia entre eu e meus avós era chamado de oralidade. E bem mais tarde também foi quando eu e meu irmão decidimos confiar no poder da oralidade e sair em busca de pessoas de diferentes áreas da vida que aceitassem dividir reflexões ligadas à vida interior.
Everything has infinite values, and if we experience it and then we act accordingly, our life can become full and joyous.
If you think pleasure is there, the goal of life, like many materialists do, disaster.
The ego is the barrier when it controls you. Oh, I have to be president, I have to have 1 million, I have to be famous.
We want to be good, we want to be perfect, but we're not perfect. Nobody is perfect.
When we wake up, boy, we have a chance. So don't waste that day.
That day is very important. It's got lessons for you.
I said yes also to the bad experiences in a way that I needed them.
Aí você se aproxima de Deus.
A janela para a luz é a luz só ela própria que pode abrir-se a nós.
We now have to redefine what we mean by beauty, because beauty for many people is something external, you know? But for me, the beauty is where you're looking from. The truth, if you're searching for truth, it is in you. Om.
And there you have it. That is a film that most definitely you want to really tune in. You want to watch from this place of stillness and catch every word, catch every moment, because there's so much in it. There's so much in it. So that is the gift that we wanted to leave people with at our closing night. And then, of course, they'll be ready for the closing night party, which is going to be lively and fun and celebratory. And I want to say that combination is reflective over the whole festival. And I just want to share this with you, is that, you know, when I started this festival, I had no idea what it would yield. I didn't know if it would impact people, if it wouldn't. And, you know, there's nothing, when you're planning something like this, you can't actually create an emotion. You can't create, you know, an energy. What I realized after the first festival, and what has happened every festival since, is that every soul who has come to Illuminate has walked away in a bubble of magic. And I'm not exactly even sure how we did that. I just know that a combination of the messages that come through in these films, the values, right, that we all share as a community, and all the deep immersions that we do, all combine together to create an unparalleled, unforgettable, magical experience that honestly, we can't even explain. So I want to invite everybody into that family so that we can all experience that magic together.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to say you both are doing God's work, you know, and what I mean by that, I'm not talking about some guy with a white beard, but when you're so connected to the Dharma, when you're so connected to your life purpose, the way that both of you are, you know, it is magic. It is magic. It is, you are doing what wants to be done, you know, and you are helping. Every one of these movies is helping us to wake up. And look, this is it. It's I mean, scientists will tell you over the next 30 years, we either radically change our consciousness and kind of make it, or it's going to be another extinction level event. You know, that's where we are. And it's in our lifetime. It's going to happen while we are in these bodies. And I'm an optimist. And I believe because of the Illuminate Film Festival and maybe a few other things going on in the world, you know, humankind is going to hit that level of consciousness. I had the good fortune to do the very last television interview that Timothy Leary did before he died.
Wow.
And it was interesting. I was working on a show called Strange Universe, and I was a supervising producer there, and I knew this was special, so I went out and I was there for the interview, and I actually conducted it. And he had a very interesting theory, which was that when humankind reached the atomic age, we would have to have a radical shift in our consciousness so that our consciousness was mature enough to manage atomic weapons and the level of technology. And he believed that exposure to radiation would trigger over a series of generations a rise in consciousness, and that it would be approximately 3 generations from when radiation first hit the planet, man-made radiation, that we would all wake up just in time. And he really laid that out beautifully. And I've been thinking about that while watching your movies tonight and thinking about what you're doing, because each one of these movies is like radiating our consciousness. Each one is helping us to remember who we are, what we're capable of, helping us to remember that, consciousness is that we're all connected, whether it's the human to human story of listening to our elders or the listening to Greg Braden explain the more bigger global scientific part of it all. You're helping us to remember who we truly are and what we're capable of. It's powerful.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. That is indeed our true mission. And we are just so happy to be with you here tonight and be able to share that mission and invite everybody to be a part of it.
Absolutely. I will see you again tomorrow night, Danette, because you're going to be part of our Saturday Night Live show.
Very excited.
And I am going to reschedule this, I think, for Sunday night and promote it out to people. And I'll send all of you the video recording, and I'm going to go into I'm going to have some dinner. Then I'm going to go into your thing, and I'm going to start like buying the things I want to and putting in my calendar so I can attend. So, Trish, any final thoughts?
Thank you.
I have lots of final thoughts, but I'm also like, whoa. I'm like, how do I gotta get friends to come watch all these things with me. Okay. And I'm like planning my list. I've got the popcorn. I've got the, fuzzy socks. I've got fuzzy little things. I'm tucking myself in. Who am I bringing? Where can I find someone with a really cushy, soft, couchy thing that I can put my leg up? I'm already on it. I'm also going to go sign up for to participate in the festival, because this is really powerful, and I'm so grateful to see you again, Maia, and to meet you, Danette, and as always, Scott, I love you, and I love our viewers and our listeners. And come back on Friday and watch this again, share this out, and we'll see you soon.
And Nancy writes, yes, we're all connected. This has definitely uplifted me in leaps and bounds. Thank you, Trish, Scott, Danette, and Maia. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I want to acknowledge most people that watch this show watch the replay. So for those of you watching the replay, I will put in the links of where you can go. But again, I just want to say it is Eventbrite. Is that the best place to send people?
Not Eventbrite.
It's actually called Eventive, but here I have an easier URL for everybody to remember, and it's illuminatefilm2021.com.
Okay,
and it'll take you right there.
Okay, illuminatefilm2021.com, and I'll put that into the chat box for our Facebook pages, and I'm going to also boost this. So, thank you, ladies. God bless each and every one of you.
So much gratitude. Thank you so much,
Danette.
Scott and Trish.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Scott and Trish. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.